Everyone, my name is Electra. I am a 45-year-old male to female transgender with autism and a lot of other things I won't mention right now. Thank you for watching. I want to talk tonight about what I think the whole artificial intelligence thing is really about. And this is going to be pretty dark and dystopic. So if you're not in the mood for that type of content right now or ever, I would just skip this one. It's like I can get dark sometimes, and I don't want to have to stop myself. So, trigger warning, perhaps, if you will, if you wish to call it that. So, here we go. I think I've been really thinking hard about artificial intelligence and how it reminds me so much. The way this is just being forced upon us reminds me so much of the 1990s internet. First it started with America Online, and then like CompuServe, and then like it was just the pure World Wide Web. And like I saw this happen when I was in high school. I would say my 4 years of high school, like we got our first computer when I was a freshman in high school at the very beginning of that school year when I was 14, and that was 1994. So as recently as like 1993, my family did not own a computer at all. And I think that's pretty normal. Most families didn't, unless you were like on the cutting edge of technology and you just were really into the whole computing thing, which was not a mainstream interest until like the internet really got popular in the mid to late 90s. But in any case, what do you think AI is being forced on us, kind of like the internet was in the mid to late 90s? Looking back at it now, the 1990s, I felt like we kind of had no choice but to join the ever-growing group of people that were on the internet if we wanted to be a functional, accepted member of society, especially since I was in college at the time, starting in 1998. And that was back when it just seemed like it was like not being on the internet was not an option back then. You really had no choice. And it was easy to make that choice when all you had to do was like join this service called Scour, and you could download all these MP3s for free. So it's kind of like that's how they lured my generation in, I guess, because I know everyone I know was doing that like almost as a full-time job when we weren't in class. And so in any case, we didn't really have a choice in the matter. Like there was never a democratic vote of whether most people in this country wanted to have something like the internet become a mainstream interest where you would have no choice but to conform and use it. Now, I was totally fine for the most part with using the internet once I got used to it. I remember thinking though, like up until 96, 97, that the internet was just gonna be a passing fad, and that it was just, it wasn't really like, I personally had no idea that the internet would be what it has become. So that either means I can't predict the future at all, or I've gotten a lot more intuitive since then. So I hope it's the latter. But I'm getting the same, point is I'm getting the same feeling about the current AI just being forced on us. Like we're just expected to learn this now if we want to be a competitive job applicant, or if we want to be a competitive content creator on YouTube, or anything else for that matter. Pretty much any creative type. If you're not using AI, you're probably falling behind. I refuse to use AI. I don't see how I will. I don't know. I can teach myself anything, but that to me seems like the least interesting thing to learn how to do. If I can't think of it myself, or if another human being couldn't think of it themselves, I have no interest what a machine thinks about almost anything. So maybe that just makes me old-fashioned now. But so why is it happening? That's the main gist of all this, is why is it happening? It's happening because I think, and I'm feeling that the elites that make decisions and have the power in our culture and society, and this is on a world stage, the whole Western society, if you will, and Eastern, but basically they want smart people gone. They want anyone who has above average IQ or the ability to critically think and process things that are not in, say, like the predictable way. In other words, if you're creative and you can critically think and you're capable of questioning things that are perhaps like not approved by some others, like your social betters, then they want us gone. And I consider myself in that group. I think that's one of my natural skills. I've always been kind of like an outsider that can criticize things. I've never felt like I've been part of a group that I wanted to be a part of. As soon as I'm in a group, I just start looking at things to find what's wrong with it. And that's just a natural talent I have, if you want to call it that. It hasn't amounted to much. Perhaps in another time and place, that skill would have been the equivalent of being like this era's Bill Gates or Elon Musk. But in this reality, all it does is it gets you, it just gets you like tied to the stake, I guess. Yeah. So AI they want people gone that know how to think and critically think and pick apart things that are wrong with what they think they're smart enough to pull off. But they know they're not that smart. That's the thing. They know they're not the smartest people in the room. Business people usually never are, historically. That's not their number one talent. They have other talents. But the business owner, starter, CEO is usually not the smartest person in the room. Those are the smartest people in the room are usually either not in the room or they're like behind the scenes. But now, if they can get rid of the people behind the scenes and just eliminate that whole unpredictable variable of what somebody that's capable of thinking could actually think and could actually think that's bad about you, they essentially are going to use AI to phase out the smart critical thinkers. So if you consider yourself part of that group, I would be even more worried than most. I know I am, because I don't know what else I really have to offer other than my brain and thinking and possibly being creative in some way or another. I certainly don't have a muscular body or physical stamina now at age 45. But if they can eliminate all higher IQ, smarter people, they will have nobody around to challenge them, and that is what they want. I just lost my train of thought. I feel like I had a lot more to say about this, and now I'm just suddenly drawing a blank. But oh yeah, let's look at all the job losses in the federal government this year so far. I think it's safe to say that almost everyone that has lost their job from the federal government this year has at least an average IQ, if not much higher. The government typically doesn't hire stupid people, contrary to conservative popular belief. So the smart class of society is taking the brunt of this fascist takeover because the fascists know they're not as smart as them. And if they can weed them out, get them out of their organizations or eliminate their organization altogether, I think I was eliminated in my job due to being this type of person, not someone to toe the line, especially if it's a somewhat fascist line, or at least is neutral towards fascism. And we're going to have a society very soon where the smartest, most intelligent people are going to be completely shut out. No one is going to want them once AI can do their jobs. And I know they're saying there's things AI cannot do, but if it advances anything like the internet did over the last 30 years, that's not going to be true for very long. So I think we need to be skeptical of the whole AI thing. Don't fall for the hoopla of it's going to make our lives so much better, because that's exactly what they told us in the 90s about computers and the internet. And what has it done? It opened up a million new cans of worms that we never had to worry about pre-1995 or so. So I think that's all I have on this right now. And thank you very much for watching. What do you think about AI? Is this the start of a new golden age for you? Is this going to revolutionize your life and your job and your vocation? Or are you thinking more along my lines of how like this is just going to be a crisis? This is just going to destroy what's left of any sort of thinking society. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.